Big Poppy, Clint Miller.
Ho, 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 Steve.
Ho, ho, ho. Here at the Poorhouse. Alongside to my left, we got B-Rad.
What's up?
How far would you go?
I tried doing it with them, but I don't know. I got to grow a little bit bigger set before I can do that.
The time is near.
Race fans, it's time to throw it up on the cushion and get dirty. Live from the Casa de Pork Chop Studios, it's time for Turn 5 Live. Now, your hosts of Turn 5 Live, Stephen Ovens, Clint Miller, and Brad Ovens.
Well, not quite yet. 2 out of 3 for now. We've got B-Rad with us, and we've got Clint. We have no Steve. Steve is still working, doing a little time zone shuffle here on this Tuesday night. Welcome to Turn 5 Live. My name is Tom Baker. I am driving the bus for just a little while until Steve is able to slide into the Casa de Roundtable and take you through the rest of the show. Brad and Clint, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was good, thank you. And thanks for joining us, Tom. Always appreciate the help and always good to hear from you.
Well, we definitely enjoy helping out whenever we can and look forward to tonight's show, of course. We've got a big show planned as always. And Clint, hope your Thanksgiving was full of turkey.
It was full of way too much turkey, Tom.
Well, that means a very long tryptophan nap, I guess.
Yes. It was a very long nap, and it was awesome. Families, there's nothing like it.
Yeah, I agree. There's nothing quite like the holiday season for sure. And, of course, Performance Motorsports Network shut down for the week as well. So we've got Cougar back behind the glass, our producer. And Cougar, hope you had a great Thanksgiving as well. And look forward to tonight's show. Let's get things started. Guys, we seem to have a common theme going on lately in New York State. Lots of racetracks changing hands. And here just within the last 10 days or so, 2 weeks, we've had another track change hands. One of the top dirt tracks in the Empire State has changed hands with the passing of the keys to Utica Rome Speedway from Gene Cole, who owned the track for many years, to Dirt Motorsports race team owner Bill Shea and his wife Kim taking over the racetrack. And Brad, I was really excited about this to see that Bill and Kim were able to acquire the racetrack from Gene. This is going to be an interesting new era for Utica Rome for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that was exciting to hear. I mean, that was I remember saying in one of the shows or in discussion with Stephen and Clint, of all the tracks that I would expect to have gotten sold, Utica Rome was at the bottom of my list. But I mean, for Bill Shea to come along and he buys Utica Rome Speedway, I mean, you're not just buying a racetrack, you're buying a piece of American racing history right there. I mean, that's huge. The history behind the track, just mind-boggling.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth, Brad. That I was thinking the same thing. You know, you're not just buying a racetrack there. You're definitely buying history. I'm so glad that Bill bought it, and the possibilities are endless.
Well, they are, and I've known Bill for about, probably almost 25 years now, and his work with Ferris Industries and his racing exploits as well through team ownership, both at Oswego in the small block super modified back when they were called limited supers. His son Justin ran a small block super modified there in the mid 90s, actually when right around the time that that series first got started at the Oswego Speedway, and then here more recently became a dirt modified team owner. And Bill has always been involved in the sport in one way or another, handled a lot of sponsorship of different NASCAR teams and Charlotte Motor Speedway and some other things that Ferris Industries has been involved with. Bill was the point person for all of that, and so he's been around the sport a long time. He's very good with sales and marketing, and I think that above all, he's just a nice guy. I mean, he's a very passionate person when it comes to racing, and Utica Rome's pretty much a mile from his house, so he really is just going to be, I think he and Kim are going to be the perfect people to carry the tradition of Utica Rome Speedway on. Gene Cole did such a great job of rebuilding the facility and really beautifying it, and I think Bill is going to be an excellent successor, and I think he will have some ideas that will even take it to the next level. So definitely excited about that. And you know what, guys, we've got an interview that Stephen was able to get with Bill the day after the sale was officially announced. And so let's go ahead and start right off by hearing some of what Bill had to say. We're going to do this in a couple of parts. So go ahead and let's roll that first part of the interview, Brad.
With the new owner for the Utica Rome Speedway in Vernon, New York, we're going to talk to Bill Shea. Bill and wife Kim have now purchased the Utica Rome Speedway. It was announced on Saturday of this past weekend. We reported it here on Race Chaser Online, and now we're going to get to talk to the man who made some headlines up at the Parts Peddler in Syracuse, New York this weekend, Bill Shea. Bill, thank you for your time and joining us today. I know this has got to be pretty exciting for you and your family.
Steve, it's super exciting. We were, looking at it and looking at the possibilities like all summer long. Actually, we had started talking with Mr. Cole, and, to have it come true and have it finally happen, we were very excited.
I understand that this is kind of been what some have called a bit of a pipe dream for you, is owning your own racetrack.
Yeah, has been. I've been a fan of Utica Rome for a long, long time. My dad took me there. I think it was 1961 or 62. I'm not sure which year it was, but I vividly remember going and rooting for Rini Charland with a red number 3 on the white coupe. And my dad was a Bill Wimble fan, and I just didn't like the color of the car. But, we made it a Sunday event every year or every week throughout the years while I was growing up, and spent a lot of time there. Went to the drag races when I had a drag strip on Saturday nights, and I've always loved Utica Rome, and to have the opportunity to own it is just outstanding.
Now, I understand that you have such a great history with the racetrack. I mean, this racetrack has gone over several transformations, both in the surface and the existing property. And I feel like you, better than anybody, have been able to be there and watch this transformation take shape.
Yeah, watched it from about the time that it opened until present day, and went there when all the different owners had it, and went there just as a fan. I mean, bought tickets and sat in stands, and I never worked there. Just went as a fan, and I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago, I was kind of between race cars. I had my son drove a limited super up at Oswego, and we had raced, probably 6 or 7 years up there. And he moved to Wisconsin for a job, and we stopped racing. And at the end of 1 year, and I pretty much sold everything off because stuff goes obsolete pretty quick, and figured it was a good time to get rid of it. And it was about 2 years later, Willie Decker, who works with me at Ferris Industries, Briggs and Stratton. And he came up to me and said, hey, Willie was a pretty successful dirt modified driver with Tommy Cullen. He said, hey, Tommy and I are not together anymore. I want to start a race team. Are you interested? And I said, absolutely. And then came home and told my wife, and we wound up getting in the dirt modified ownership, and we've had several cars since then that Willie has driven exclusively and had some success, won some races. But Utica Rome was our home track. We were there every Sunday night.
And talk about obviously working with Willie and going to Utica Rome, and this really ties everything together. And for somebody who has just come to know you in the last couple of days, it's pretty neat. And I can't imagine what the emotions and the thoughts that you have, being that this just kind of ties everything together. It ties that dream together. It kind of is almost a passing of the baton at Utica Rome. You guys have been there as a car owner now for a couple of years, so it just really kind of ties everything together nicely.
Yeah, it certainly does. And, I think the biggest reason I considered it was I had to continue working at Briggs & Stratton and Ferris. I've worked there for 38 years. And, I'm going to continue to work there. And it would have been difficult if it was a defunct racetrack to try and resurrect. But it's far from defunct. It is, a first-class facility. Gene Cole has done a great job of improving the facility. The bathrooms are really nice. The bleachers are great. The pits are wonderful. The grounds are fantastic. Everything's mowed, and there's no weeds growing up anywhere. It presents very, very well. And he's got a staff of really good people that work there, and makes it pretty much turnkey to move in. So it was easy. I've got to know the folks over the years that work there, and they've always treated me real well with a ton of respect, and I expect they'll do that with everybody. That would be my wishes going forward, and it just made it. I don't want to say a no-brainer because I had to think long and hard about it, but it made the decision a lot easier.
One other point that I wanted to touch on too was you brought up working for Briggs & Stratton and Ferris. Talk to us about your history there, because not only did you work for that company, but that company was very involved in the racing scene, both locally and nationally when you look at it.
Yeah, well, that would be, probably my doings. We had, it's a long story, and I don't know if we have a lot of time for it or not, but I started racing in Oswego with Justin, and he was like 17 years old, and put him in a limited super, and, it's a pretty big track, it's pretty fast, and the third night out there, Justin got in a wreck, and the guy he got in a wreck with was Todd Gordon. And Todd was just out of college. He built a car, and he was up there racing. And I was pretty mad at him at the time. And he comes over to me after the race, and he says, "Geez, but Todd, I ran into your son. I'm sorry." Blah blah blah. And I was like, "Oh, cool. The guy's a good guy." So we started talking. I found out he's an engineer, so we hired Todd. And Todd became an engineer at our place, and he and I and another fellow that I worked with worked on suspension for a lawnmower, and that's kind of what has put Ferris on the map, is suspension on a lawnmower. And we'd stand around the race shop and the race cars looking at shocks and everything, trying to figure out how to make it work on a mower, because it is difficult and there is a patent on it. But Todd was pretty instrumental in that. And Todd is now the crew chief for Joey Logano. Every Sunday I turn races on and I see Todd. It's pretty awesome. But that's kind of the history of, where Ferris and racing is. And I got to know some people down south because of Todd and because of some other people. And, we sponsored a few nationwide cars, not for the whole season, but for particular races and markets that we're trying to build a dealer base. And we've done a lot with dirt in the Northeast and even in Charlotte. We have a deal with the Charlotte Motor Speedway dirt track that we're a sponsor there. And, it's racing people have been really good to us at Ferris. They're loyal. They buy lawnmowers. They, usually live in the country and own bigger properties that need our mowers, and it's worked very well for us.
Well, certainly that's a great jumping point for Bill's involvement in the sport, and definitely, Clint, I think gives you a real sense of the passion that he has, not only just for the sport of racing as a sport, but also for doing things in a first class and in a revolutionary manner. He likes to continually try to do better and try to improve, and I think you're going to see that in the way that he handles the Utica Rome Speedway, he and his wife Kim, going forward.
Yeah, for sure, Tom. I loved listening to the interview and hearing the passion in his voice, and just hearing that it gives me goosebumps a little bit on as to what to expect. Bigger and better things, and as part of Utica Rome's history already, what he brings to the table is going to put it over the top.
Well, and we're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to hear more of the interview with Bill Shea that Stephen Ovens did here just recently. We will be back here on Turn 5 Live right after these messages. You're listening to Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Stephen, Clint, and Brad will be back with more Turn 5 Live right after these words.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
Enter America's #1 dream car giveaway contest at winyournewcar.com. That's right, winyournewcar.com. Complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free delivered to your door. Come on, stop dreaming and start driving with winyournewcar.com.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
So you finally arrived at the sweet spot in your life. The kids are raised and gone. You have free time, and it's finally time to do something for you. If you've ever considered owning a Corvette, but have been putting it off for years, now is the time to act. Isn't this the time to finally get that Corvette you always wanted and drooled and dreamed over? Well, grab the little lady by the hand and take her to Cooper Corvettes. They're conveniently located on Route 1 just off of I-95 and just north of the Marine Corps base. They have lots of pampered and well-maintained Corvettes in inventory. And if they don't have what you want, they'll find it. From classic Stingrays to modern-day cars, Cooper is your one-stop shop. And speaking of shops, they service what they sell. And even if you didn't buy a Cooper Corvette, they'll service your Corvette anyway. Become part of the Cooper Corvette family. Call them at 703-445-1483. That's 703-445-1483. And on the web at coopercorvettes.com. That's coopercorvettes.com, American pride and countrywide. You wouldn't trust your taxes to an uncertified accountant, so why trust your vehicle to an uncertified technician? When you have to take your car into the shop, look for the blue and white ASE sign. That ASE blue seal means the shop employs technicians certified by the National Institute for Automotive Service Excellence. ASE certification is proof that technicians have the knowledge and experience to fix your vehicle right the first time. For more information on finding an ASE Blue Seal of Excellence facility, visit the website at www.ase.com.
Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ and photo booth of Turn 5 Live. Stuart Ovens and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are sure to provide you with the very best DJ and photo booth entertainment on the market in the Finger Lakes. Call Stu at 315-481-9700 or CreeksideEntertainmentDJ.com. Book your party or photo booth with Creekside Entertainment today.
Now back to the crew whose studio was named after a dinner entree. Here's Stephen, Clint, and Brad.
and how appropriate that is. As long as you don't call us late for dinner, we just generally don't care what else you call us. Tom Baker sitting in for Steve Evans for a little while here tonight on Turn 5 Live. Brad Evans next to me at the Casa de Roundtable, along with Clint. And guys, listening to Bill Shea, it occurs to me that, you know, with Rolling Wheels, I'll direct this to you, Brad, with Rolling Wheels having recently been reopened under new management, and of course out west in western New York State, the Lancaster Speedway appears that it's going to end up under new ownership / management. And now with Utica Rome being purchased by Bill and Kim Shea, and therefore under new management now, it occurs to me that there is a lot of fresh air, I guess you could say, in the motorsport scene in New York State for 2015, even before we start talking about drivers switching teams, new sponsors coming in, new series, whatever. Just with that information alone, with all of the changes in track ownership, track management, just seems kind of some fresh air kind of hitting the reset button. I always enjoy seeing somebody new come into a racetrack because I always want to see what they're going to do with it, Brad.
Oh, absolutely. You know, that was one of the things we always talk about. Last season was our first season. Of course, we started Turn 5 here during the off season, so we weren't sure if we were going to have content to talk about all the way through the winter till race season. And it seems like this year, with all the news coming out and new owners and like you were saying, the drivers that are changing and some of the driver changes, you know, it's almost like, how are we going to fit it all in before racing starts again? But it is good. I mean, I love it. You know, there's that new fresh vibe in the air that, you know, it's still the same racetrack. It's probably going to be the same racing. But the fact that there's new owners and there are new promotions, and I think it really helps the dirt community to really get everybody pumped up and excited.
Well, and of course, Lancaster being a paved track, but yes, you're exactly right. And I want to clarify, I wasn't saying anything negative about the previous ownership or management of any of those tracks. Just to say that whenever somebody new comes into track management, it just seems like there's always some new things that come out of that. And, you know, as someone who's been in track management in the past, I've never owned a track, but I've managed a few and certainly done marketing and PR for a few as well. I think that's always neat when you see that new blood come in, and especially in this day and age where you're seeing so many tracks just shut down and go away. It's really neat to see that there are some tracks up there that have been kept alive and have been passed on to folks who presumably will, have them for quite a while. And I'm sure this is the case for Bill at Utica Rome. And let's go back and let's check out part 2 of the interview with Steve and Bill Shea.
All of this experience put together with your wife Kim's marketing background, I mean, I really think that's important for people to know that kind of experience is what you guys are bringing to the table. It's not, it's not as though, somebody that owned a car and is a race fan wanted to buy a racetrack. You guys really have the necessary background, and I imagine the plans to really keep Utica Rome at the level it's at, and even bump it up a little bit higher.
Well, that's what our plan is. The foundation is there for some growth and expansion. And when I say growth and expansion, I don't mean we're going to change classes. I think we can put more cars on the track and more people in the seats, and that's what the plan is. My wife is experienced with some retail, and she knows how to go after customers, and she's going to do a lot of the day-to-day work with Barb Clark. She's going to be working with Barb, and Barb's going to help her. She's going to help Barb, and they're going to go after some sponsorships, the sponsor nights of the track and some bigger events. And she's good at that, and She knows that's her job. She loves auto racing as much as I do. So I think we're going to be a great team there. I think we're going to be able to, build on what Gene has already started. He's done a heck of a job with what he's got there because the facility is outstanding.
No doubt about it. When I immediately think of Utica Rome, and I'm a bit of a younger guy that doesn't have the big history going to the Speedway, I've certainly spent some Sunday nights there, but when I think of Utica Rome, one of the first few things that I think of is those big traditional holiday weekends, and wanted to ask you, with those holiday traditions, those big weekends, other big races throughout the year, is that going to stay the same? Do you anticipate any bigger changes as we go through the winter?
No, I don't. Especially for 2015, they've done they're pretty progressive. They've done a pretty good job of putting a schedule together already, and the holiday weekends are there on the schedule. We plan to run a full field of what we normally run on Sunday nights, plus the ESS races that he always has done in the past, and then we'll do the New Yorker and the Victoria, the day after as it's occurred. So we don't plan to make any changes this year. We'll take a look at it and see if there's some opportunities to make it better in the future for future years. But right now, that combination seems to work.
That's great. That's and then for folks that haven't made a lot of ventures out to the Vernon Speedway in the last couple of years, another interesting part of that property is that if you've never been out to Utica Rome, there's also a pretty good bar and bar food place on the property as well.
Yeah, that has been closed for a couple of years, and that property was owned by somebody else. Mr. Cole bought that, I would say within the last 12 months, and has renovated the building a little bit. It had some structural issues, and he's got those all taken care of. And what our plan is we want to make it a Speedway theme type bar. And I'm not going to be in the bar business. I don't want to keep it open every day, but we want to have it open on Sunday nights. And hopefully by opening weekend, we're going to run TV out there or live stream. Mel Thomas Videos does the videotaping every Sunday night at Utica Rome, and he tells me we can live feed to the bar and restaurant. So there's not a lot of VIP suites at Utica Rome, but if somebody wants to go to the races and not get dirty, they're going to be able to go to the bar, watch it live on TV, and stay clean if they so desire.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
And we're only going to have it open on Sunday nights, and probably do payoff there and have a place to gather so everybody can chat and watch the races. After the races on DVDs, and then our plan is to maybe rent it out if somebody wants to do a baby shower or a fundraising event for their race team or whatever the case may be. Make it a race theme type place and let people use it to that.
That's great. That's great. You mentioned the fact that Utica Rome Speedway is a pretty well turnkey operation. Is there anything that you see with the property right now that you think needs to be done or that you want to do before the opening of the season?
No, other than get the bar up and running, the bar and restaurant. The rest of it is, the track was manicured before the end of before weather got here, like 2 months or a month ago. I was there, and they had graders on the track, and they had it all set for winter. It's set to go, and there's not a lot there to do. They do an excellent job of preparing and then unwinding at the end of the year. So the plan is to open mid-April and get going, run some races, and have some fun.
And before we even get to that point, we've got the Utica Rome Speedway Banquet coming up this coming Saturday. But I know that, even prior to the banquet, I know an important thing for you guys was to be able to get this deal done and get to talk about it up at the Parts Peddler. Tell us what went into making that happen.
Well, it was, I wanted to get it done before the Parts Peddler show. And reason being is Utica Rome had a booth up there, and I just wanted to reach out and touch some of the drivers and meet them. And, I know most of the modified drivers that race there, but there's a lot of sportsman drivers and full fender cars and so on that I don't know them personally, and I wanted to talk to them. Want to get the opinion on the open sportsmen and the crate sportsmen and tires and sail panels and all that good stuff. And it's a great place to see a lot of people. So I wanted to get it, if it was possible, I wanted to have it done before we got there on Friday. Well, you know how attorneys are. I've got an attorney. Mr. Roll has an attorney, and it was, they were busy doing other things, and we had agreed, and he put pressure on his attorney, and then when it came to mine, I had to put pressure on mine, and one thing led to another, and Thursday afternoon, we talked, Gene and I did, and there was a possibility that it wasn't going to happen until Monday. They couldn't understand the urgency of why we had to get it done so quick. Well, I guess he talked to his attorney, and they finally understood why we wanted it done quick. And about 6 o'clock Friday evening, we signed the paperwork, and I was able to give them the down payment and for the purchase agreement, and the rest was history. We got our wish. We got it done Friday. We didn't get it done quite in time for the opening of the show, but it was done, and that's how it happened. But Gene wanted to do, it was important to him that the press release come from him with the announcement regarding the sale of the track, and he said he'd do that 10 o'clock on Saturday morning, which he did, and and then it was okay for me to talk to whoever I wanted to talk to, but he asked me not to talk to any of the press until after the official press release from him came out.
Sure. And I got to imagine that the cell phone's been ringing off the hook since the announcement came out.
The cell phone and Facebook, and I'm not a Twitter guy. I haven't figured out how to do that yet, but I do have a Facebook account, and I was like, wow.
We're very excited for you guys, and we really appreciate your time visiting with us tonight.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I appreciate it, Steve.
All right, that's Bill Shea. He is the new owner of the Utica Rome Speedway, running every Sunday night starting in mid-April out in Vernon, New York. If you've not been there before, you're going to want to get there with the new ownership taking over this year. Going to see a lot of the same things that you've always seen at the Speedway with Bill and Kim's touch on it as well.
That about says it, I think. And one of the things that I can't wait to see is the World of Outlaws sprint car race that's scheduled there in 2015, and we are definitely hoping and anticipating that you are going to be able to hear that race and possibly the New Yorker race from Utica Rome as well live here on the Performance Motorsports Network. We're definitely looking forward to being able to put that together and do some live broadcasts from Utica Rome this year with the Turn 5 crew and a couple of the other Race Chaser Online folks. So that'll be a whole lot of fun if we can put that together, Brad.
Absolutely. That would be a ton of fun. To stop and think where we came from to where we're at now with the help of Cougar and Bob and everybody here at Performance Motorsports Network, I'm just so happy to be able to say we can go to the races and make a difference.
Well, we're definitely excited about that as well, and looking forward to big things in 2015 from the partnership for sure. With that, we are going to take a break. When we come back, the Power Trio becomes a fearless foursome as Steve Ovens joins us And we continue to talk racing here on Turn 5 Live. You are listening to us on the Performance Motorsports Network.
On the other side of the break, more coverage and discussion from the dirt tracks. Stay tuned to Turn 5 Live.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
In the Pits Media is proud to present its newest partner, WinYourNewCar.com. That's right, you now can enter the #1 American Dream Car Contest giveaway at WinYourNewCar.com. Complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free, delivered to your door. Come on, stop dreaming, start driving with WinYourNewCar.com.
Car problems? You can trust your local Cotman man. Cotman has a 40-year history as a leader in car repair and making happy, satisfied customers. Whatever's wrong with your car, SUV, or truck, Cotman will check it out free using state-of-the-art diagnostic equipment. Don't take chances with your car. Bring it to Cotman and let your local Cotman man show you why they are America's transmission and total auto care experts. Visit Cotman.com to download money-saving coupons. Cotman. Real service, real fast.
You know that phone call is going to come at the worst possible time, right in the end of the game. Fourth quarter, fourth down, and 1 yard to go. They're piling up, but you can't watch that. You got to get that car off the road. This could have been prevented if you have taken advantage of Cotman's free TransCheck 21. Here's a chance to have us look at your car and head off any problems that could happen that could interrupt that game. Again, it's a free check. Come see us.
See Leonard and the fine folks at Cotman of Manassas, 9113 Mathis Avenue in Manassas. Give them a call at 703-365-7200.
Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed. Learn how at www.ready.gov. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Ad Council.
If you're a gearhead, you probably go online to those hot rod superstores, drooling over the chrome and speed goodies until you find just the right item for your muscle car, tuner car, or truck. But what do you do when it comes to fixing the mom mobile? If you're like most do-it-yourselfers, you head to the strip mall parts store and talk to the "Do you want fries with that?" kid behind the counter. Hold on, Bunky. Did you stop to think where those chain stores are getting the parts that you're installing in the vehicle that's used to transport your family everywhere? They get the cheapest suppliers they can find to sell you the parts at bargain prices. Their limited lifetime warranties? What a joke. Remember the last time Mom's car broke down? You heard about that one for weeks. Don't take that chance again. Excelsior Racing has the quality parts you need for your family vehicle. Parts that you can install knowing you're getting the best for your family. Excelsior Racing. Quality parts, personalized service, affordable pricing, fast to you direct. Excelsior Racing. Online at excelsiorracing.com or call 502-909-2034.
Hi everybody, this is Getty Lee for RAD. To many of us, drunk driving is something that other people do. Certainly not one of our friends or relatives would do such a thing. When you see someone who's had too much to drink, about to get into a car, urge them to give up the keys and find alternate transportation. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives, you should too.
A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Hey race fans, this is Oswego Speedway Public Relations Director Dan Kapusinski, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live.
Welcome back to Turn 5 Live as we talk racing on a Tuesday night here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Tom Baker along with Brad Evans and Clint Miller, and joining us now, the usual driver of the Casa de Pork Chop bus, Stephen Evans, has made it back to his San Francisco hotel. He's got his bowl of rice-a-roni squarely in front of him. And welcome back to your show, Stephen.
Well, Tom, now that I've made it to San Francisco, I'd like to say that I think I'm the San Francisco treat, but I think it actually is rice-a-roni.
Can't believe that any of you guys even are old enough to remember that reference, to tell you the truth.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
This is where we take a downhill turn, right, gentlemen? You guys have been doing such a great job tonight, and good to be back with my boys here.
Well, it's great to be with all three of you guys, and always fun to be on the show with you. But Stephen, of course, I know you've been listening as you've been making your way to the hotel. You've been checking out the show tonight, and you did that interview with Bill Shea, and of course, as I said at the top, I've known him a long time. I was actually working for Ferris Industries when that suspended mower was created, and it was pretty cool, to be a part of that. But I would imagine that you after having done that interview, you've got to have a sense now that this is a guy, and I should say he and his wife are going to be a very formidable promotional team, and they are going to, as Bill puts it, continue the work of what Gene Cole started, but I think take it to a whole nother level.
Well, I'll tell you, Tom, a few things that really stand out to me when I interviewed Bill was the you brought it up. We'll start with his wife, Kim Shea. And as we got talking in that interview, I didn't even really get to bring it up to him. But when he mentioned the fact that he went home and we've heard this story before. I had a crazy idea. I wanted to go buy a racetrack. I went home and told the wife and slept on the couch for the next 3 weeks. And with Bill and Kim, it's not that way at all. They are totally on board with this idea. And like you said, Tom, Kim's background in marketing and how to make this whole show operate, I think is going to be part of the success of this operation. And talking to Bill, I just get that sense that we're about to embark on new territory, and really Utica Rome is really going to be something special for the formidable future.
Yeah, I agree. And as I was saying to the guys before the last break, when we kind of wrap things up there, with all of the fresh blood in track ownership and track management, a lot to look forward to next year, and a lot to pay attention to, which is great. It's a very positive thing when you see so many tracks changing hands. And you hope, obviously, it's to folks who are going to keep them running for years and years and take them to the next level, as opposed to seeing tracks go away, which we see far too much of, unfortunately, in this day and age.
You're absolutely right, and I'll bring in something that we're going to talk about later on in the show, Tom. But another group of folks that I believe you had told me in the past fairly well, the folks that were operating Freedom Speedway in 2014, they had plans of running this track in 2015. Now we hear over the weekend that they weren't even given that option. Whoever owns the speedway obviously has other plans. We don't even know if it's going to be a racetrack next year. But that team, doesn't even have the option to expand on what they could be doing in 2015 because, the lease option for them is not being renewed on the part of the track owner. So it's great to see stories like this with Utica Rome and other places because it's helping us balance out a few racetracks that we know of that are in limbo right now.
Yeah, that's a shame. Freedom is a cool track, and I just hate seeing, again, always hate hearing of a track going away. We've got a track down here in the South, Taylorsville Speedway, that's been dormant since, I think about 7 or 8 years at least. And somebody just recently took the lease on that property and is doing a ton of work. Actually, I'll tell you who it is because a lot of your audience up in New York will probably know him, Mike Bugka Jr., who was a racer at Fonda for a good many years. And Mike is bringing Taylorsville back from the dead, if you will, and really doing some nice work. And he's got a unique plan for it. It's a little quarter-mile track. There is not a ton of property there in terms of the immediate pit area, if you will. So what he's trying to do is kind of return racing to its roots a little bit. And he's going to he's encouraging everybody to bring their race car on an open trailer, just like they used to many years ago. And he's doing a lot of kind of lower dough classes, and I think it's going to be a very unique and very interesting and very entertaining facility. Going to do a lot with classes like street stocks and hornets and just different things like that. And of course, he'll have some occasional, late model or whatever shows too. But really using the facility to highlight some of the lower divisions, and he's keeping I think it's $8 or something for admission to the grandstand for spectators, and just trying to keep everything really reasonable and allow families to come out and have a great time.
Well, I think we need more of that, and
I agree.
And I know that for racing to continue to grow in the direction that we want it to, we definitely need more of that, and it's good to see that there's people out there trying to make that happen.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%, and looking forward to seeing how he does with it. He plans to open in 2015, and he's doing a lot of the work himself, him and his wife, and a small crew there that's helping out. So it's all good. Definitely excited about what he's got going there, and again, just great to see a track coming back from the dead like that, and adding another racetrack for the fans to go to. If anyone's wondering where that is in North Carolina, it's about a 45-minute drive from Charlotte. It's in the Statesville, North Carolina area, and definitely excited. And if anybody's down, in this area and wants to go check it out, it's a Friday night track, so it'll be a unique experience, I think, for folks.
Well, we've got a lot more track news to discuss, and speaking of track news, any of our dirt fans that read or attended the Accord Speedway over the weekend, we are going to be talking with Brett Deo here on the other side of this break. He's going to tell us about the weekend from Accord, the cancellation, and what they're doing about that cancellation and others going forward. You're listening to Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Stephen, Clint, and Brad will be back with more Turn 5 Live right after these words.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
Enter America's #1 dream car giveaway contest at winyournewcar.com. That's right, winyournewcar.com. Complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free delivered to your door. Come on, stop dreaming and start driving with winyournewcar.com.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
So you finally arrived at the sweet spot in your life. The kids are raised and gone. You have free time, and it's finally time to do something for you. If you've ever considered owning a Corvette, but have been putting it off for years, now is the time to act. Isn't this the time to finally get that Corvette you always wanted and drooled and dreamed over? Well, grab the little lady by the hand and take her to Cooper Corvettes. They're conveniently located on Route 1 just off of I-95 and just north of the Marine Corps base. They have lots of pampered and well-maintained Corvettes in inventory. And if they don't have what you want, they'll find it. From classic Stingrays to modern-day cars, Cooper is your one-stop shop. And speaking of shops, they service what they sell. And even if you didn't buy a Cooper Corvette, they'll service your Corvette anyway. Become part of the Cooper Corvette family. Call them at 703-445-1483. That's 703-445-1483. And on the web at coopercorvettes.com. That's coopercorvettes.com, American pride and countrywide.
You wouldn't trust your taxes to an uncertified accountant, so why trust your vehicle to an uncertified technician? When you have to take your car into the shop, look for the blue and white ASE sign. That ASE blue seal means the shop employs technicians certified by the National Institute for Automotive Service Excellence. ASE certification is proof that technicians have the knowledge and experience to fix your vehicle right the first time. For more information on finding an ASE Blue Seal of Excellence facility, visit the website at www.ase.com.
Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ and photo booth of Turn 5 Live. Stuart Ovens and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are sure to provide you with the very best DJ and photo booth entertainment on the market in the Finger Lakes. Call Stu at 315-481-9700 or CreeksideEntertainmentDJ.com. Book your party or photo booth with Creekside Entertainment today.
Now back to the crew whose studio was named after a dinner entree. Here's Stephen, Clint, and Brad.
Welcome back, race fans, to Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network. And as we spoke about just before the break, going to get a chance now to catch up with the series director from the Short Track Super Series, Brett Dale. Brett, great to have you back on the show here. It's been a while since the last time we talked to you, but you know, after everything that occurred at Accord this weekend and your great explanation that you had posted on the website and Facebook, thought it would be a good opportunity to bring you back and kind of go over all the things at Accord.
Yeah, definitely. We had a lot of things happen, everything but racing. It was probably one of the hardest working few days I've ever had to get ready for a race, as far as trying to get the facility ready. And, you know, when I left the racetrack on Friday, I thought we had it. I mean, I was 100%. You know, in my mind, the biggest problem I thought we'd have the next day was the pit parking and the grandstand parking, because the track looked so good. And, you know, the track looked great. Even when we were opening the gates on Friday or Saturday morning, you could see some of the pictures people posted earlier in the day that the track really was looking good. And, there was a couple of things that kind of lined up to make it not work out. And I think the main thing was that in the morning, the sun was shining pretty bright, and, you know, it was a nice enough day to get Gary Palmer to go out with the calcium spreader. And not long after that happened, the cloud cover came and it started getting more and more damp. And the calcium did what it's supposed to do in the summertime, which is bring moisture to the top of the surface and keep dust down. But there was so much moisture that it just kept bubbling up, and that's what created the mess that we ended up with right around noon, 1 o'clock.
And the thing about it was, you know, reading the post that you had was the fact that you guys didn't do anything different than last year when you guys were able to run the race. So it really caught you guys off guard.
Yeah, and it was a little bit warmer than it was last year, which I think contributed to it, because the track didn't stay frozen quite so long. And the other thing that it was just, you know, one of those deals where there was so much moisture from the rain and the snow that it pulled it all to the top. And, you know, it was kind of an odd thing. I mean, I know exactly what the track looked like on Friday last year, and I know what it looked like on Saturday morning last year. And honestly, it looked a lot better this year than it did last year. And it's just one of those things that, you know, it happened, and it happened at the worst possible time, because had it looked like that at 8 o'clock in the morning, we could have just scrapped the day. But, you know, we were, you know, 8 o'clock in the morning feeling pretty good. And then, you know, even 10 o'clock, I walked around on the track myself and hung up some American Racer banners for our, you know, sponsors. And it was fine then. I mean, I walked from turn 2 to turn 4 and back without even getting mud on my shoes. That's how hard it was at that point. So, if you asked me at 10 o'clock, I would have thought we were going to have a hard and slick daytime racetrack. And, you know, 2 hours later, we were looking at a foot of mud. It was just that quick that it turned. And once you get everybody there, you know, at that point, it was, you know, now what do we do? And, you know, we tried using different techniques. Obviously, he had his Packer trucks out. That didn't work. So we went for a skid steer, thinking it was a little bit lighter. It might be able to scrape the sloppy stuff off the top, but that just, honestly, it wasn't big enough. And then he, you know, Accord's a very hard, smooth racetrack. It's not a track where the grader runs very often. And as it turned out, you know, he took the grader out, but it was just so wet by that point that the actual grader was just sliding from the top of the banking right down to the bottom. And that was making just a huge mess. So at that point, we decided that we would postpone the event until the spring, because he scraped a good percentage of his clay off the racetrack to try and save the day. And that's going to need to go back on, you know, now before the winter, because it's going to need to settle back in. for him to have a good track in the spring. So that's why we didn't go with this week for a rain date. And, we decided to postpone. And at that point, Gary was still on the grader, trying to get some of his mess fixed. His wife was still in the kitchen, so we needed a few moments to put our heads together and figure out the best way to handle it. And that's when we came up with our refund policy.
And, I know that is in part of the post that you wrote, I think that really gave a lot of folks insight into what it takes to operate an event like this, as well as give people an indication of, the trust level between everybody, because everybody, as you laid out, everybody has their own specific job, and, everybody just kind of takes the controls and runs with it. And I really felt like this really was able to show that to the race fans.
Yeah, well, every track that we go to, we have a different arrangement. Accord, I've known the Palmers for a long time. I actually, when they bought the racetrack 12, 13 years ago, I was in college and I worked there. So we're friends away from the track, as much as we've done business the last couple of years. And, when we go there, everybody does their thing. I mean, I do all the pre-race publicity. I run the races, the drivers' meeting. His wife does the kitchen. Gary does the track. His two daughters work the ticket window, and his son works the pit window. And we honestly, like 9:30 on Saturday, just all went our separate ways. And when I went into the concession stands to tell Donna that we might need to cancel, that was the first she heard of it. She was so busy cooking and all that kind of stuff. And, it's just, we had to get everybody together. And honestly, the cash refund at an event like that, it doesn't matter if it's a concert or an auto race. It's just something that isn't a best business decision, because there's so many variables. I mean, people that won radio station tickets, people that had comp passes, people that had season passes. I mean, anybody could come up with a ticket that day and say they paid to get in, and chances are you're going to pay out more than you brought in, because that's just human nature. Everybody's trying to get something for nothing. So doing it the way we're doing it is, if you want to come back in the spring, keep your tickets. If you don't, mail in your tickets, and we'll send you back a check. And I had some people from Canada call me today that they were worried that their ticket wouldn't get back by the deadline. That's absolutely not a problem. I mean, if your ticket gets slowed down in the mail and it comes on December 15th, we're not going to keep your money. We're going to do the right thing and send it back.
At what point, Brett, did the idea come about for you to reach out to everybody and try and answer all of these? I mean, I'm sure there was a period of time where, the questions were filtering in and such, but, at what point did you, feel like taking the opportunity to write and try and answer all these questions? When did that come about?
Well, I heard my phone was going ballistic, to the point where I couldn't even look at it on Saturday. And, I thought the best bet was for everybody to, kind of cool down on Saturday, and go their separate ways. And then Sunday morning, explain all of what happened and why it happened. And I think that was the best way to go. Because everybody at the heat of the moment was just as frustrated and sickened as I was. I mean, personally, I left the racetrack, and to be honest with you, I turned my phone off and went right to the bar, because I was just that disgusted with it. You just so much work and so much time, and screwing up all these people's holidays to be there and plow and shovel and everything that we did, for it to end that way when you're so close to getting it done. I know I was completely disgusted. So I can't imagine the people that towed, Boyd McTavish towing down from Canada, or Matt Jester towing up from Delaware. I mean, everybody was just sick to their stomach at that moment. So I thought the best bet was for everybody to cool down, including myself, and then address it on Sunday. And that's what I did. And I think it worked out. I think people, realized that maybe it wasn't, as it seemed. It certainly wasn't a money-making scam, because I paid the pile of bills yesterday. It was a very expensive deal for all of us, for me, for Gary, for Donna. I mean, it was, for everybody that towed there, everybody that drove there. So nobody made out on this deal. And, we're just trying to do our best to make it reasonable for everybody and get it done in the spring.
We're talking here with Brett Dale from the Short Track Super Series, as well as Brett Deo's Motorsports Media. We're going to have more. After this break, you're listening to Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
On the other side of the break, more coverage and discussion from the dirt tracks. Stay tuned to Turn 5 Live.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
WinYourNewCar.com. Enter America's #1 dream car giveaway contest at WinYourNewCar.com. Complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free. Come on, stop dreaming, start driving with WinYourNewCar.com.
Car problems? You can trust your local Cotman man. Cotman has a 40-year history as a leader in car repair and making happy, satisfied customers. Whatever's wrong with your car, SUV, or truck, Cotman will check it out free using state-of-the-art diagnostic equipment. Don't take chances with your car. Bring it to Cotman and let your local Cotman man show you why they are America's transmission and total auto care experts. Visit Cotman.com to download money-saving coupons. Cotman. Real service, real fast.
You know that phone call is going to come at the worst possible time, right at the end of the game. Fourth quarter, fourth down, and 1 yard to go. They're piling up, but you can't watch that. You got to get that car off the road. This could have been prevented if you have taken advantage of Cotman's free TransCheck 21. Here's a chance to have us look at your car and head off any problems that could happen that could interrupt that game. Again, it's a free check. Come see us.
See Leonard and the fine folks at Cotman of Manassas, 9113 Mathis Avenue in Manassas. Give them a call at 703-365-7200.
Media sales professionals with agency experience. If you're frustrated with your current position, unrealistic quotas, and inept management, if you're a sales machine and you simply will not take no as an acceptable reply, if you're looking for a rapidly growing company with unlimited sales potential for commissions in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, if you're searching for a high-tech, forward-looking, laid-back, but extremely professional organization who appreciate your skills and dedication, we have your next opportunity. Scorpion Radio Group is building a sales team of self-starters who are motivated. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444 or email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. That's 717-749-0444 and ask for Sue.
Hi, this is Jens Scott from Summit Point Kart in Summit Point, West Virginia. If you're looking for a real racing experience on a real racetrack, come out to Summit Point Kart this weekend. For as little as $25, you can get your racing career started. New this year, Summit Point Kart offers the RX 250, capable of over 75 miles an hour. We're open every Friday from 5 p.m. till 9 p.m., Saturday from noon till 10 p.m., and Sunday from noon till 9 p.m. For more information, go to our website, summitpointkartwithak.com, or you can call us at 304-725-5270. Summit Point Kart, your East Coast karting center.
Now back to the Larry, Curly, and Moe of Dirt Track Racing. Steven, Clint, and Brad.
Welcome back, race fans, to Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Steve Ovens, Brad Ovens, Clint Miller joining me here on a Tuesday night talking with Brett Deo. And Brett, let's talk about, we were talking about the what folks need to do, as far as ticket refunds or just holding on to them to the next scheduled event. That was one thing I wanted to talk to you about because, before it was mentioned, I don't know that a lot of people understood that, with race events at Accord Speedway, the approval process of even trying to get a race scheduled there.
Yeah, it's actually kind of unique in that every event that is held at Accord Speedway, whether it's a practice or a race, or even a car show, needs to be pre-approved by the town board. And what happened was Gary Palmer was really organized this year, which was a great thing, and he took the schedule to the town board for 2015 last month. And that included our scheduled midweek show, our series event for Accord for next year, and all his events. So that's been approved. We have a tentative date in mind for next year to make up the Gobbler in April. But we just need to get it cleared by the town board. And he was going to try and get that through next week so we can get that up. Next week will be the December meeting. He's not on the agenda, but he was going to see if he could get in and get it on so that we could get it out. But that's just something that's kind of unique. Accords, they're subject to a lot of regulations there. There's no beer in the grandstands, very, very tight 11 o'clock curfew, and every event has to be pre-approved. So they work under a little bit different set of rules than maybe some of the other tracks that we're used to do.
Now, Brett, you promote a lot of races. Obviously, the Short Track Super Series was a hit this summer. But talking about this approval process with Accord, is that something that you think we're going to see in the future with racetracks, or is this kind of just something that's unique for their area?
Each track is kind of different. We're in a position where, different tracks like Thunder Mountain, if we wanted to race tomorrow, we could. There's no pre-approval. I mean, obviously Woodhull's in the middle of nowhere, so they can kind of do things. But, tracks that are in the middle of or closer to towns, I could see that definitely being a process that, they have to go through. And, obviously the state of New Jersey is a little more strict. We're in the midst of this announcement that came just over the weekend that every driver that competes in New Jersey next year has to have a Hans device. That's something that's kind of hits me at home because I have a race at Bridgeport and a race at New Egypt next year, so we're going to need to get that word out right away. So, all the different tracks that we go to in different states have varying degrees of, regulations and control from the local government and the police, and that's just something that I'm starting to get used to.
Absolutely. You brought up Woodhull, and obviously a couple weeks ago before our Thanksgiving break, that was a huge announcement that made a lot of Woodhull Raceway fans happy that the Short Track Super Series would be coming to the Woodhull Raceway in 2015. For anybody, I'm sure there's a number of fans that attend Woodhull either on a weekly basis or a few times a year down there in Woodhull, but talk to those guys about, if they've never been to one of your shows, what are they going to expect? What's going to be different and make that event special?
I think, one of the biggest things about that event is Woodhull hasn't had a midweek modified show in quite some time. And I don't know that they've ever had a midweek modified show that paid this much. The 50, I think it's 51 lap race is what we're doing for 51 years. We're looking at 5,100 to win, which is, a very nice payout. But when we go back to the field, we're paying $1,000 for 10th that night, $400 to take the green plus lap money. And I think you'll see a lot of different drivers who've never turned a lap there that are going to be there. And you're going to see some drivers who have raced there years ago, maybe back to the days of like the Ithaca Gun Series. I mean, I know Jeff Hetzler is one of those guys, or the Rickies. I think you're going to see a mix of cars there that's going to be pretty unique. And, I know some of the drivers down here, like Ryan Watt, who's champion at Bridgeport, he told me that place is on my list for next year. I always like to race at one new track a year. That's going to be it. So you're going to see a real nice group of cars. And I think something that we've never seen with our series, I think we have a good chance to pull some of the Western Pennsylvania, Ohio cars up. I think with the payout that we have and being a middle of the week non-conflicting race, I think we'll probably get some faces and names that we've never had. So I think it should be a really neat field of cars, and I'm excited about it because I think the track is awesome. I think it fits right into our program with the short tracks, and I think it's going to help us with our other events to get some of the Woodhull cars to come on the road with us a little bit more too, because they'll feel like they're a part of things with our series going to their track. And I know for a fact that Billy Van Pelt and Grant Hilfiger have a car that's going to be just run on our series. They're going to run all of our events next year. And I saw the announcement about AJ Postrabowski, and I just think we're going to have even more participation. Donnie Lawson's raced with us quite a bit in the last couple of years, and I really enjoy having him around. He's a nice guy and a great family they have. So it should be a great addition to our series, not only that night, but throughout the year.
And let's talk about the Short Track Super Series. I mean, this was the inaugural season of the series, getting things kicked off. I want to try and gauge your reaction with how, obviously, I feel like personally your guys' car counts speak for themselves. The events were fantastic. The racing was great. But with the promoter's hat on, how do you evaluate 2014?
I think we survived very well for our first year. We had a ton of adversity with weather. That was our biggest problem. Orange County was postponed. Thunder Mountain, it rained at about 5 o'clock, but we still were able to race. I-88, it rained before hot laps. We had to race the next day. Accord rained after the modified Contis. We had the race the next day. Pencan rained out, and we had to postpone it until September. That was probably our biggest challenge this year. That getting through all those rainouts and trying to make the right calls. And, obviously the NDRL, with them going out of business, that was a huge, huge hit to us. Basically losing our biggest sponsor 3 races into the season and having to come up with $10,000 we didn't plan to come up with. But we were able to do all those things. And our drivers, which is something I'm very proud of, we raced on Saturday at I-88, and our drivers' point fund checks were in the mail on Tuesday. And everybody's been paid already for the season, and everybody's got their contingency awards. And that's something that, I'm really proud of that we were able to do despite all the trouble that we had along the way. And we were able to take care of our drivers right after the season.
Now, we've heard already the North and the South series for 2015. Is there at this point, a 2-year plan, a 3-year plan of where you'd like to see this go?
We have a 3-year agreement with American Racer, which is huge for us because this year we raced. Basically, we raced out of my bank account. I mean, we had the NDRL support, which ended up, defaulting. The VP Fuel was very good to us, and they're back next year through a different brand, which is High Tech, that's blended by VP. So there's a little bit different name with the series, but still VP backing. So I think with the American Racer tire money, we're able to increase our point fund. The North region will be a $15,000 champion. The South region will be a $7,500 champion. So you're looking at, if you can win them both, $22,000 for 13 races. So that's a big step for us. But I'd like to continue going in the direction we're going in. We're not dirt. We can't ask our drivers to race 28 races a year. We're not in a position like Al Hankey and Matt Shepard where they can do that, or, Gypsum and Billy Decker. So what we need to do to make us a viable business is race more than 6 or 7 times a year. But we can't ask the same drivers to do that. So that's what made the North and South concept. We raced at Georgetown last year with a non-points race, and I had 48 cars, and I think only 3 of them had raced with us at all that year. So there's a whole new market of drivers down here in the New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware market that we can run a separate series for, and then run our Northern series with our Accord, I-88, Woodhull, Glen Ridge, Orange County, Thunder Mountain, those tracks, and have almost 2 different series going on, to keep us in business, but without wearing out our drivers. And I think that's the key to it.
Well, that's, I know that coming up here shortly, I know you guys said you'll be having some more schedule announcements as time goes on here, but I know something that came out, I believe it was yesterday, was the addition, well, not the addition, but you guys will be going back to Thunder Mountain, and that is, that is going to be happening. Is your involvement going to be the same with Thunder Mountain in 2015?
Yes. Yeah, it was a great learning experience for me. And I think probably one of the neatest things about Thunder Mountain was seeing the improvement of the racetrack from the start to the end. And we'll definitely, I'll be back there on Saturday nights. They're getting a little bit of a change with their program. It's going to be streamlined more to be a more fan show. It'll be a 5-division Saturday night with the mods, the sportsmen, the crate sportsmen, the street stocks, and the 4-cylinders. And that leaves some room to have some special events. And one of the things that I'm looking forward to we're actually going to be at Thunder Mountain twice with our series, once in June and once in September, is that we'll see a lot of drivers doing double duty because we're going to pay $5,000 to win for the modifieds and then $3,000 to win for the Tobias Speedsters that run down here at Action Track USA. So that opens the door for Mike Mahaney to run both, and Billy Pouch, and Billy Pouch Jr. Dwayne Howard will have a speedster next year. Jeff Strunk. I think it'll be really neat to see Kenny Brightbill at Thunder Mountain. I don't think he's ever raced there, so it should be a real 2 headline division show when we go there both times for the series events. So that's something I'm looking forward to. That'll be on June 28th and September the 13th.
Well, Brett, we'll look forward to all of the releases that are yet to come out, and the schedule for the North Series here, and certainly looking forward to seeing you guys down at Woodhull. I know that's going to be a huge show, and with everything that happened at Accord, and I really applaud your approach to getting the word out to everybody and try and give everybody almost a behind the scenes view of how putting on a race like that works. But we appreciate your time coming on to talk about it tonight, and as things come out, we'll be talking to you again for sure.
Thanks, we appreciate it, and we will have the full schedule and the point fund out by the end of the week. I actually got everything finalized last night. I'm just waiting for my revised series logo, so I'm hoping to probably have the full schedule and all that information out by Thursday.
All right, good deal. Well, we'll look forward to that. That's Brett Dale from the Short Track Super Series, fueled by High Tech, getting ready for their 2015 season. We're going to a commercial break. On the other side, we've got news and notes from the Northeast here on The Dirt. You're listening to Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Stephen, Clint, and Brad will be back with more Turn 5 Live right after these words.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
Enter America's #1 dream car giveaway contest at winyournewcar.com. That's right, winyournewcar.com. Complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free delivered to your door. Come on, stop dreaming and start driving with winyournewcar.com.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
So you finally arrived at the sweet spot in your life. The kids are raised and gone. You have free time, and it's finally time to do something for you. If you've ever considered owning a Corvette, but have been putting it off for years, now is the time to act. Isn't this the time to finally get that Corvette you always wanted and drooled and dreamed over? Well, grab the little lady by the hand and take her to Cooper Corvettes. They're conveniently located on Route 1 just off of I-95 and just north of the Marine Corps base. They have lots of pampered and well-maintained Corvettes in inventory. And if they don't have what you want, they'll find it. From classic Stingrays to modern-day cars, Cooper is your one-stop shop. And speaking of shops, they service what they sell. And even if you didn't buy a Cooper Corvette, they'll service your Corvette anyway. Become part of the Cooper Corvette family. Call them at 703-445-1483. That's 703-445-1483. And on the web at coopercorvettes.com. That's coopercorvettes.com, American pride and countrywide.
You wouldn't trust your taxes to an uncertified accountant, so why trust your vehicle to an uncertified technician? When you have to take your car into the shop, look for the blue and white ASE sign. That ASE blue seal means the shop employs technicians certified by the National Institute for Automotive Service Excellence. ASE certification is proof that technicians have the knowledge and experience to fix your vehicle right the first time. For more information on finding an ASE Blue Seal of Excellence facility, visit the website at www.ase.com.
Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ and photo booth of Turn 5 Live. Stuart Ovens and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are sure to provide you with the very best DJ and photo booth entertainment on the market in the Finger Lakes. Call Stu at 315-481-9700 or CreeksideEntertainmentDJ.com. Book your party or photo booth with Creekside Entertainment today.
This is Jared, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live.
Welcome back, race fans, to Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Gentlemen, let's get into some news and notes. Actually, getting ready to finalize an article for Race Chaser Online that's going to come out in the next day or two. And gentlemen, as we start this news and notes section, I was disappointed that with work, my work schedule, I couldn't be here to help lead this with the top of the show. But want to send our thoughts, prayers, and condolences to the Searles and Sutherland families on the loss of Jeffrey just about a week ago. anybody that knew Jeffrey, or Jeffy as some folks called him, knew his passion for the racetrack. And whether you found him in turn 3 at Little Valley, turn 2 at Yates County, or turn 1 pit grandstands at Woodhall, anybody that ever encountered Jeffrey or got one of those patented Jeffy high fives, knew how much he loved racing. And Jeffrey's going to be missed at the Raceway, and just want to send our thoughts to the family.
Yeah, I definitely concur with what you're saying, Stephen. I got the Jeffy Cyril's bear hug many times and the thumbs up, and heck, I've even been flipped off by him, and it was awesome. It was just, it's one of those things that, and I think I quoted on one of Jared Hill's posts that it has started to sink in, but I don't think it'll really sink in until we get to the Speedway, and he's not there.
Yeah.
I think that's when it'll hit the hardest, and I love all those guys, and known them for a very long time, and I couldn't go to the calling hours last night. I got a terrible cold, and I'm not taking it all over the place. So definitely my condolences. Also, like to on another sad note, I just informed my producer Brad is want to send our condolences to the Irwin family as well, with the passing of Les on Sunday, and just this winter can't get any worse right now. It's definitely been a long winter already, and we still got many months to go.
It was, and I have to. I'll share a personal story with Les that I have. I mean, I met Les when Jack Ayers gave me an opportunity to drive his 4-cylinder after the car that I had teamed up with Kenny Hunt. We wrecked that car fairly early in the season, and Jack stepped right up to give us a ride in the 29 car to finish out the season for the Bandits. And I met Les, and boy, what a jokester, and a guy that was full of humor, full of life, especially when he was with his friends at the racetrack. And to see everybody's posts and see what they've wrote about their memories of Les just goes to show just how much everybody's going to miss seeing him at the racetrack as well. And it's been a tough week for our racing family, but that's the thing about the racing family is when we go through times like this, everybody's got each other's back, and even if it's just a note to say we're all here for each other, and hopefully this gets better as time goes on. You can never replace somebody, but when you've got your good friends and family around you, it makes it a little bit more tolerable. But want to send thoughts and send our thoughts out with all those folks as they go through all of the calling hours and funeral arrangements this week. Disappointed myself that I can't be there to be there for our racing buds and our family. But as we move on with some more news and notes this week, gentlemen, let's get into, we've already talked to Bill Shea tonight about the Utica Rome Speedway. Other tracks that are making news or maybe not making news at this point is, let's talk about, we talked a few weeks ago about Canandaigua Motorsports Park, Jeremy Corcoran coming back as a promoter, and I think until a lot of people saw that release, may not have even known that there was a possibility of Jeremy not coming back. But certainly it's good to see that he will be back. They are planning a schedule right now, and to start off that season, they're going to have a regular show, and then the following week is going to be Jan Corker Memorial Weekend, which is obviously very close to Jeremy's family, and there's going to be a big 64-lap, $6,400 to win modified show, along with that weekend having a 64-lap Sportsman modified show. And Nick Wary talked to us about the development of that idea. Looking forward to hearing more about that. They just launched a new website. Their website was edited and operated by Craig Ravel, who we lost earlier in the fall. So, unfortunately, with Craig's loss, they had to kind of regroup with their website. They've got a new page up and running well. So stay tuned to their website for all the news, all the divisions coming back in 2015 that were there in 2014. So that was good news as well. And, we'll see what 2015 brings for Canandaigua. There's certainly some other speedways we're going to talk about here that, depending on how things happen, maybe Canandaigua will benefit in seeing a few more cars. But, talking about those other speedways, Clint, one place that kind of was a little bit of a surprise to me, because I didn't think that their first season running Freedom Speedway was necessarily all that bad. Everybody that raced there seemed to have a pretty decent time there. But when it was announced this week on social media that the owner of the speedway was not going to be leasing to the management team from 2014 going into 2015, that was a little bit shocking, because now nobody knows what's going to happen with Freedom.
Yeah, it was more than a little bit shocking. Well, I had heard rumors, but what I've learned over the last year and a half for rumors is you don't listen to them. So, you read them and you put them in the back of your mind, but you don't carry them on. And so I had heard about it, but then I had heard that it was going to be okay. So, you don't know what to believe. But it's sad. It really is.
And not only is it's sad for the folks out that way, Freedom's out in Delavan, New York, out Batavia, Buffalo way. I mean, this is almost a double hit for these guys, because there's a lot of uncertainty with even Raceway 5. A lot of the shows late in the season in 2014 at Raceway 5 either didn't happen or racers found out last minute that the shows were going to take place. So now when you get the Freedom news on top of the uncertainty of Raceway 5, I mean, let's face it, Clint, there's a big following out there in Batavia for all of those divisions that run out there. So this is really kind of a double hit for these guys.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I was at Raceway 5. I wasn't at Raceway 5 this year. I was there last year, but the crowd really strong each and every night that they raced. And I believe that some of that was carrying over to Freedom, I thought. But yeah, it's really big in that area. Seemed to be gaining strength. Good car counts, and like I said, good fan count, and that's what you need nowadays. It seems like most of the problems you have with racetracks is the fan count down, but they definitely didn't have that problem.
No, they didn't. And actually, the one night that I was able to make the Raceway 5 this year was for one of their late model specials. And boy, what a strong crowd that was. And that also took place during the fair week. So I know that was traditionally a pretty big show for those guys. But still, even with that, when we go there to cover a race and we've got to take a seat in the first two rows because the rest of them are pretty well full. I mean, for a smaller track, Raceway 5 isn't, let's face it, it's not as well known as a Canandaigua Motorsports Park or a Brewerton Speedway or even Rolling Wheels. So, to see that kind of a crowd at a place like Raceway 5 was pretty awesome, no doubt about it. We talked to Brett Deo about Woodhull. Obviously, our last episode, that big announcement that the Short Track Super Series comes to town in August there at Woodhull, that's going to be big. All of their divisions returning for 2015 as well. We'll be getting a schedule update from them. I imagine most of these places will be getting schedules out fairly soon. Obviously, we've got we're still waiting on word on what's going to be happening with Dundee, but I expect that will come fairly soon. Probably in the next couple of weeks, we'll see what all happens there. All indications are that things will be business as usual. But we always Jacob always likes to say, we always wait for the press release, Clint. We always wait for the press release.
Well, yeah, and we heard not too long ago any kind of press is good press. And, we just, I'm with you. I think that business as usual is going to go on, and we're hoping, and really needs to, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've got our next guest ready to go on the hotline, and on the other side of the break here, we're going to talk to AJ Piotrowski. He's going to tell us about his 2015 plans in a dirt modified. You're listening to Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
On the other side of the break, more coverage and discussion from the dirt tracks. Stay tuned to Turn 5 Live.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
Enter America's #1 dream car giveaway contest at winyournewcar.com. That's right, winyournewcar.com. Complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free delivered to your door. Come on, stop dreaming and start driving with winyournewcar.com.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
So you finally arrived at the sweet spot in your life. The kids are raised and gone. You have free time, and it's finally time to do something for you. If you've ever considered owning a Corvette, but have been putting it off for years, now is the time to act. Isn't this the time to finally get that Corvette you always wanted and drooled and dreamed over? Well, grab the little lady by the hand and take her to Cooper Corvettes. They're conveniently located on Route 1 just off of I-95 and just north of the Marine Corps base. They have lots of pampered and well-maintained Corvettes in inventory, and if they don't have what you want, they'll find it. From classic Stingrays to modern-day cars, Cooper is your one-stop shop. And speaking of shops, they service what they sell. And even if you didn't buy a Cooper Corvette, they'll service your Corvette anyway. Become part of the Cooper Corvette family. Call them at 703-445-1483. That's 703-445-1483. And on the web at coopercorvettes.com. That's coopercorvettes.com, American pride and countrywide.
You wouldn't trust your taxes to an uncertified accountant. So why trust your vehicle to an uncertified technician? When you have to take your car into the shop, look for the blue and white ASE sign. That ASE blue seal means the shop employs technicians certified by the National Institute for Automotive Service Excellence. ASE certification is proof that technicians have the knowledge and experience to fix your vehicle right the first time. For more information on finding an ASE Blue Seal of Excellence facility, visit the website at www.ase.com.
Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ and photo booth of Turn 5 Live. Stuart Ovens and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are sure to provide you with the very best DJ and photo booth entertainment on the market in the Finger Lakes. Call Stu at 315-481-9700 or CreeksideEntertainmentDJ.com. Book your party or photo booth with Creekside Entertainment today.
This is Rich Sharpstein, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live.
Welcome back, race fans, to Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Steve Ovens, Clint Miller, Brad Ovens here at the round table talking dirt racing. And speaking of talking dirt racing, I'm going to now talk to a gentleman just announced his 2015 plans. Going dirt modified racing, just as they had on a limited schedule in 2014. AJ Piotrowski joining us here on the program. AJ, thanks for your time tonight. I know you guys are pretty excited about your announcement this week.
Yeah, we are. I think I'm more excited than Brad and Kim are, to get back in the swing of things here. We ain't been doing much racing in the last year and a half, so we feel good to get back to the racetrack full time and get the dust knocked off and get back to victory lane, hopefully.
Well, let's, I wanted to first talk to you about, getting teamed up with these guys. I know you guys teamed up, I guess it was probably about halfway through the race season this year, and you guys ran on a limited schedule to close out 2014. Yeah,
about halfway through the year. The driver they had, they just kind of hit a brick wall as far as making progress, and they decided to part ways on good terms. And I got a call from Kim Harrington, wondering if I'd be interested to drive a little bit for him and see how things went. And it's kind of how it all started. And we had some, just a learning curve this year. I ended up with a couple good runs there and tore up a little bit of their equipment and started to get acclimated with each other.
You had some real nice runs with them, though. You had I think you had a top 5 with them, and you had a really good run in the Bull Ring Challenge for a 7th place finish, which I think you came from the back in that one, didn't you?
Yeah, that's where we struggled the most was our qualifying package, and I think a lot of it was me, overcharging the corners coming from the sportsman class, and just to kind of learn how to drive the track again, and so we was always mirrored back in traffic, and we had a good run there. We needed more green flag laps than what we got, and but I was happy with the progress we made up to that point and in that race. So it was a good confidence booster for both me and the team in general. They've been struggling a little bit, and they put their heart and soul in it. They just want to be competitive, and we started to get there towards the end of the year.
And for those guys, having the good runs is great momentum for them. And these guys have really been around, the racetrack, particularly, Woodhall and the Southern Tier. I mean, they've been a staple for years now.
Yeah, they have. It's actually been good. He's probably one of the better setup guys around here. So it's you can always learn something new. So I just kept my ears open and my eyes open. And I figured if no future plans came from what we had going on last year, it would be a good learning curve for me. Brad's won a ton of races and championships all over the Southern Tier, and it's good to be teamed up with somebody like that. It opens your eyes to stuff you might not see by yourself, because all my whole racing career, even up through the sportsman ranks, it was always done by myself. And so it's good to have that knowledge, looking over you and pointing you in the right direction.
It's got to feel like, all of that work up to this point, this is almost the payoff for that is all of that hard work and effort. Now this is the culmination of all that work, getting ready for 2015.
Yeah, it is. I said, we just really got, going good as a team, and they're just great people to drive for. I couldn't ask for a better team. They both put their heart and soul in it every week, and it just took a little bit of me being able to give him the right driver feedback for him to make the right, adjustments on the race car. And so I think everything we learned this year is really going to carry over into 2015 for us.
Well, let's talk about 2015. You guys, from what I understand, are going to be running Woodhall weekly, and then are you guys going to be operating with the same car on the Short Track Super Series? And do you guys have a number of those races that you want to run?
We actually just sat down last weekend to finalize everything, and the original plan was, and we kind of just talked about a little bit, was we're just going to do the Woodhall deal for the full year and get acclimated with each other a little bit more, and and try to be more competitive. And he ended up buying a big block motor, and he's going to buy another Hig Fab chassis. And I'm not sure as how many races we'll probably do on that that series for Brett Dale, but I imagine a lot of it's probably going to come down to how much equipment I tear up in the beginning of the year. If we can keep the nose clean and get some good runs and get some good sponsor backing, I think his plan is to do them all. So a lot of it probably depends on funding, and if I can keep the front end on it each and every week.
Sure. Well, you bring up running a Hig Fab, and I think that is obviously Troy or Bicknell Tio, those are always going to be big brands, and when you talk about dirt modified racing. But I got to tell you, there's really been a lot of momentum behind the HigFab chassis. Do you have any experience underneath one of those?
Well, the chassis that I drove for him last year was a 2014 HigFab. Actually, when I took over driving for them guys, I believe it only had a handful of races on it, maybe 5 or 6. And I mean, the only thing I've ever driven was Bicknell's. You know, when I first got into the dirt modifieds, that's the chassis I bought, and I learned it and I liked it, so I stayed with it. I never really ventured off to it. And then jumping from that into the HigFab chassis, you know, not taking nothing away from Bicknell because they're, you know, they got great product and a great chassis, but the HigFab chassis fitted my driving style, you know, a lot better. It's hard to get them cars to turn into the corner and keep your drive off, you know. And with the HigFab, we ended up getting a really good balance there towards the end of the year, and so I'm actually excited to get a full year with them chassis. And that Jerry from HigFab is just, you know, his support for his chassis is just phenomenal. You can't ask for better support as a customer, you know. I mean, there's a couple of times Brad called him, you know, right from the racetrack, and Jerry's at Orange County or doing his own thing, and, you know, he's always got time to sit down with you and help you out.
That's great. You know, we've talked to both Jerry and Steve Payne on the show before and talked about the chassis itself. You know, Jerry tells us that, you know, his chassis doesn't necessarily have all these big bells and whistles that can be adjusted per se. And he talked to Steve Payne, and Steve Payne says, you know, this chassis is simple, and I can do simple, and it just fits. A lot of drivers say it just fits my driving style. I'm just curious, you know, from your perspective, is it, you know, fitting the driving style is there anything that you can point to that makes it more simple to work with, makes it more user-friendly?
Not really. As far as the setups and stuff go, you still have all your basic adjustments as you would a Bicknell or a TO. You know what makes them so good, I don't have the answer for. You know, I have noticed a couple of, you know, his bar angles built into the chassis. You know, I don't know if that's helping with the stability of the race car or not, but I mean, your pan-on bar, all your adjustments and everything's basically the same. You know, the biggest thing I like for is the turn into the center of the corner. You know, it's really hard to get them cars to rotate in the center of the corner without giving up all your forward bite coming off. You know, and we found a really good balance, you know, both ways with them cars, and they also adjust. You know, their adjustments. You don't have to, you know, if you're a little free off, you don't have to go crazy with your adjustments because it responds good. You know, if you're looking to do a little, you only need to do a little with the, you know, I've had some cars where you're just a little tight getting in, and then you make, you know, a wholesale change, and it's not enough. You know, and with these cars, you know, after we got acclimated as a team, where, you know, I could give him the right feedback for the chassis. It just needed fine-tuned adjustment from there, and it really responded good.
I imagine that the last time you guys were out at Yates County, I mean, that track was pretty slick and hard, and you guys ran. I mean, I have to imagine that gave a pretty good indication of how that car would react in those kind of conditions.
Yeah, it did. Yates County for us as a team was definitely a throwaway race and a great learning experience. I blame a lot of that on me. I don't think I gave him the feedback that he needed to make the right adjustments for that track because, you know, I've been racing for a lot of years, and that's the first time I ever seen Yates actually turn into an asphalt track, you know, and we just missed the setup there. And a lot of our problem has been a shock package too. You know, I think that's why we've been behind the 8 ball so much at Woodhall qualifying. But we're working on a deal right now with Al Kugler from ProTrack Shock Technologies. So if he comes on board, I think that'll help fine tune the cars on tracks like that when you're just throwing a curve, and especially at the qualifying at Woodhull. I mean, our main focus is going to be Woodhull. A lot of our sponsors are based right here in the Southern Tier, so we're gonna shoot for that and try to have success over there, and then we're going to do the Brett Dale series. It's just kind of a fun learning experience.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk more about 2015 with AJ Petrobowski on the other side of the commercial break. You're listening to Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Stephen, Clint, and Brad will be back with more Turn 5 Live right after these words.
Hi, this is Jens Scott from Summit Point Kart in Summit Point, West Virginia. If you're looking for a real racing experience on a real racetrack, come out to Summit Point Kart this weekend. For as little as $25, you can get your racing career started. New this year, Summit Point Kart offers the RX 250, capable of over 75 miles an hour. We're open every Friday from 5 p.m. till 9 p.m., Saturday from noon till 10 p.m., and Sunday from noon till 9 p.m. For more information, go to our website, summitpointkartwithak.com, or you can call us at 304-725-5270. Summit Point Kart, your East Coast karting center.
In the race of everyday life, it's nice to have the green flag. But drivetrain problems are the pits. A fully remanufactured engine, transmission, or differential from Jasper Engines and Transmissions costs less than a new vehicle and comes with a 3-year, 100,000-mile nationwide transferable warranty. See JasperEngines.com for details and get the green flag in your race of everyday life.
See the boys at Chandler & Sons Automotive, 45977 Old Ox Road in Sterling. Give them a call, 703-437-7300.
Ever hire, never quit. Lofty goals in this age of shoddy quality, corporate indifference, and built-in obsolescence. It's a beacon of light in a crowded field of mediocrity. The way a company is run is an indication of how you, the customer, is going to be treated. You have a lot of choices when you're searching for auto and performance parts online and at the corner parts store. So why should you buy from Excelsior Racing? Because they're simply the best online parts supplier in the business. Ease of ordering, cost, and prompt delivery. Look no further. If you have a question, our customer service hotline, staffed by knowledgeable gearheads like you, will ensure that you get what you need to fix or mod your car or truck. With 1,000 suppliers, you're guaranteed to get what you need. First time, every time. Excelsior Racing. Excellence on the track. Excellence on the road. Excellence in customer service. Online at ExcelsiorRacing.com or call 502-909-2034.
For 17 years, Stock Car Steel has been a leading materials supplier to the racing industry. Now they're also an official motorsports content partner of Race Chaser Online. The biggest names in NASCAR trust Stock Car Steel for all their raw materials, such as carbon steel, chrome moly, DOM, aluminum, plastics, and much, much more. You can't build a race car without the basic materials, and Stock Car Steel is the place to get them. Don't forget to also visit Stock Car Steel's sister company, SRI Supplies, for racing and industry. SRI is your #1 source for all your shop supply needs. Nuts, bolts, rivets, tapes, adhesives, cutting tools, chemicals, body shop supplies, paint shop supplies, lubricants, and more. A well-stocked race shop is a winning race shop, and the road to winning begins with 3 letters, SRI. For more information, visit StockCarSteel.com and SRI-supplies.com. You can also find them on Facebook at Stock Car Steel and Aluminum, or call either company toll-free at 1-888-752-7272.
Welcome back to Turn 5 Live. Here's Stephen, Clint, and Brad.
Welcome back, race fans, to Turn 5 Live. Here talking dirt modifieds with AJ Petrobowski, driver of the Harrington family-owned #1. And AJ, we were talking, about running Woodhull, and you guys, see what will come, of potentially running Brett shows. I mean, with all of the folks running the dirt, down in the Southern Tier, particularly at Woodhull, what's the reaction been about the Short Track Super Series coming to Woodhull?
Really good reaction. From my standpoint, I think Brett Dale is one of the best promoters that I've seen in my time. He's promoting is second to none. So whenever you have somebody that puts that much time and effort and focus on just one single race, race is always going to be big. And Woodhull Raceway has always gotten a full field of the small block modifieds anyway, and so you take their modified weekly, car count, and then his followers are just phenomenal. It's hard to get a series anymore that draws. I think it's fair to say that he draws 40 cars of his own on any given night. So if he draws the 40 cars and you got your 24 to 30 cars, you're going to have 60, 70 modifieds, on the bull ring. It's going to be a race that's even going to be tough to get into. But there's been a lot of buzz about it, people talking about it, and I think it's great that Woodhull, teamed up with him to get the series in there. Not taking nothing away from their weekly modified racing, because around here, as far as competition or car counts in the modified class, I think they're on top of the game right now. And a series like this coming in is really good. It's going to be a good night. Something the fans ain't going to want to miss. That's for sure. And I'm looking forward to that race. Just because it's kind of on our stomping grounds, and his series got a lot of top name drivers with really good equipment. So to have a series race at home where you can have a little bit more confidence about making the show, first of all, let alone being competitive, and it's great for smaller teams like us.
That's for sure. You said it right there. I know it takes a big group of people, and certainly with the Harringtons to get you out on the racetrack, and want to give you an opportunity to talk about those folks that help make it happen for you guys.
Yeah, well, obviously Brad and Kim Harrington. I mean, anybody that knows dirt modified racing in Southern Tiers knows Brad and Kim Harrington. They're the car owners. They do everything right out of their own pocket just for the love of the sport. So any of my fans that follow me around, if you ever get a chance to, come over after the races or something, go up and thank them for, giving me this opportunity. And we got a pretty good crew, actually. Phil Hall, he's pretty much the crew chief. He does almost anything you need him to do, and he knows it all. And Eric and Steph Waters, Steph's the gas girl. She's just as good as any crew guy I've ever had. Georgie Harrington, Corey Harrington, and Kurt Short, and my son AJ Jr. Anybody that comes around racing with me knows that he's my personal crew chief. And as far as sponsors go, we got Southern Tier Logging. That's owned by Brad and Corey Harrington. Fast Track Racing Parts. Harrington Beef Farms. That's a family-owned farm by the Harringtons. Pig Fab Chassis, obviously, with all their technical support, and so they're our sponsors. Campbell Racing Engines is going to do our small block engines. And then, of course, we're working on the Pro Track shock package, which I'm really excited about. A lot of people don't understand the shock, how important the shock package is. So I think that will help our qualifying run. And then we got Big Ink Tattoo from the Arnott Mall coming on board this year. They've been a sponsor of mine for years, so we're excited to get them back on the car. And we're working on a couple more sponsors, but we're open to anybody that's looking to get their name on board. We'd be happy to have you. And that's about
absolutely
it for the.
Well, if anybody's looking for a team that's got momentum headed into 2015, look no further than the Harrington team with their driver AJ Petrobowski. AJ, I want to thank you for your time joining us on the program tonight, and really excited for you guys for next year.
Yeah, thanks for having us. We're really excited too, and hopefully we can get to Victory Lane early in the year, and we can do another one of these shows to keep everybody up to date.
Oh, absolutely. You can count on that. That's AJ Petrobowski, driver of the Harrington #1 Dirt Modified, going to be running down there at the Woodhull Raceway in 2015. Be sure to check those guys out, and they'll be having some more more sponsor announcements, and I was talking to AJ the other day also about they're looking to do a off-season benefit party as well. So be sure to stay tuned to AJ's page as well as the Harringtons on social media. And gentlemen, as we get ready to wrap things up tonight, Clint, isn't it funny that we talked to another dirt modified driver looking forward to next year, and we're talking about HIGFAB chassis again. This has really been a running theme, and it's interesting to see that is now starting to work its way toward us as we get ready for next year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really surprised, I guess. Seemed like everywhere you went, HIGFAB chassis seemed to be what you heard is the up-and-coming chassis, on the circuit. Obviously Steve Payne switched to him, had an enormous amount of success at Canandaigua this year. Running one night a week, finished second in points to Matt Shepard. In my opinion, that's a great year. Went to Woodhall, won the Bull Ring Challenge. We talked to Danny Tyler. They had a HIGFAB chassis. It's just they're all over and they're coming north.
Well, they are, and we'll see. I'm not sure just how many more we're going to see out this way. I know Jerry here just in the last couple of weeks, before Parts Peddler announced that they had a new employee come on over at HIGFAB. So I know those guys are busting tail, to get things produced and get these cars out to these guys. And you talk about getting these cars built. I mean, we've seen pictures in the last week or so of Dylan Potter from Potter Chassis getting a bunch of street stocks and 4-cylinders built. But what's interesting is, Clint, I've seen more race cars that are built and getting graphics put on them, and we haven't even reached January 1st yet.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. You're absolutely right. I don't even know what to think about that, because how many times do you hear, we'll do it with our street stocks. We'll be scrambling at the end of March to get it ready for April. So, I don't know how these guys are doing it. Maybe they have two cars. They've been working on one all year long here and there. I don't know, but it's pretty cool, and that just means bigger shows at the beginning of the year.
Well, it does, and one of them that I've kind of been watching in particular was Raymond Spikers coming back to dirt track racing in 2015. I mean, his street stock is pretty much ready to go. I'm sure they've got power plant things to be working on and such, but that chassis was ready to go, and I know he was trying to make a push to get to the track late in the season, and that didn't come to fruition. But now he's set himself up pretty nice for 2015, and it'd be great to see another competitor come back to the speedway, especially in the street stock division, because we do know of a few guys that have purchased 4-cylinders and are going to be running the 4-cylinders where we were used to seeing them in the street stocks in the past season. So, as we get ready to wrap up, guys, another great show. Want to have you guys give me your top thought of the show tonight.
My top thought of the show is Bill Shea taking over Utica Rome. I'm really excited about the prospects of a great American Northeast racing dirt track coming in with new ideas and brightening things up.
How about for you, Brad?
Yeah, again, Bill Shea, Utica Rome, big things coming. Can't wait.
Well, no doubt about it. We'll be back here next Tuesday night for another edition of Turn 5 Live. Tom Baker will be in the host chair for the first couple of segments. I want to thank everybody for listening. You can always listen to us here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Good night, everybody.
Turn 5 5 Live is a copyrighted production of the Performance Motorsports Network. PerformanceMotorsportsNetwork.com is a member of the Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated and may not be rebroadcast, replicated, or saved in any media without the explicit written permission of PMN. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host, co-host, and guest, and do not necessarily reflect those of the management and ownership of either the Performance Motorsports Network or Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated, the advertisers, or marketing partners.